Okay, so welcome. We have over here Michael Zampano. He is the acting manager at the Boulevard Chapel. And Michael, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story.
All right. So I just wanted to just hear a little bit about your background there. Like, how long have you been in the industry and like servicing the Five Towns area specifically?
Oh, sure. I've been a funeral director for the past 16 years, and I've been serving the Jewish faith, I'd say, for the past 12, 13, for the past 12 years.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wow. So you've been a little while now.
A little while. I've gained a lot of experience. You know, my last name suggests that I'm Italian, but I do know a lot. I do know a lot about the religious faith, and I've come very accustomed to many traditions that the faith follows.
Uh-huh. Wow. Speaking about traditions, I heard that you guys had some renovations done at the Boulevard for the to accommodate like your Jewish the Orthodox Jewish community. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, with the neighborhood flourishing, we've had several renovations done to the facility. First, we've renovated our chapel. Our chapel holds 635 people where the service is held. It is now state of the art, newly painted, new carpet. It's equipped with a camera that allows for live streaming, so people can remotely view the service via the internet, or live streaming or webcasting.
Wow.
We also went and put a state-of-the-art Kohen house in our parking lot. For people that are Kohanim that can't enter the building, we put a Kohen house equipped with chairs, heating, air conditioning, with interactive audio and video capabilities, so you can hear and see what's going on in the chapel and participate in the service when necessary. We've also added a Makita, a separation to our chapel, available when needed upon request. It does the job that it requires. And over the next month, we're going to be replacing our existing air conditioning unit that's been here for about the past 30 years. So we're replacing that to better service our client families.
Wow. Beautiful. It sounds like you guys are really trying to go above and beyond for the Jewish Orthodox community. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so I want to ask, and I feel like a lot of people in the community are wondering. You're somebody who's on the front line, so to speak. Obviously, in this pandemic, the people who were hit the hardest were the families who lost loved ones. You know, um, so how specifically did like you find this period challenging, and how are you able you and the Boulevard, how are you able to accommodate those families during this difficult time?
Well, let me just say that it has been a long 8 weeks. These are unprecedented times, and as a funeral director, I have never seen anything like this. And you might say that I've only been doing this for 16 years, but people, co-workers that have been here for 30 years have never seen anything like this. So I would have to say the most challenging part of this period was just keeping up with the volume, or I should say the death rate in the area. Um, we we were working close to 15, 16 hours a day without a month off, and that's what we that's what we signed up to do. You know, we wanted to service every family that came, that called us, So we wound up doing that, but keeping up with the death rate was an incredible challenge. And since the death rate was so high, that brought other challenges. For example, there was a shortage of we started experiencing a shortage of personal protective equipment that is essential to what we do. And we started also experiencing a shortage of caskets. So we had to make special accommodations with companies around the country to make sure that this wasn't going to deflect. This wasn't going to allow any family to not have the opportunity to say goodbye to their loved one. So we took care of that. And then just the restrictions on public gatherings at the funeral home and at the cemeteries that we go to. We're used to having, we have a chapel of over that holds over 600 people, and we're used to having that ability to have a service that large. We lost that ability during this time. So that's been a challenge, but with every challenge, we try to come up with a solution. So we implemented a live streaming of our services, and this helped to give families the opportunity to say goodbye when they could not come to the service. So at the cemetery, we were able to live stream services, and over the past 2 months, people from all over the world have viewed our funeral services at the cemetery. Anywhere from Israel to India to Bangladesh, all over the world, people were viewing. So people need a chance to say goodbye, and we did our best to give them that opportunity.
Wow.
Yeah, we as I was saying, we tried to accommodate every single family that called us, and I could say that we did not have to turn away one family. If they had needed other arrangements, then they did what they had to do. But we did not turn away one family. We wound up making virtual arrangements online and over the phone, whereas during normal times, families would come into the funeral home and make arrangements. Well, we did virtual arrangements and arrangements over the phone. I guess the most important thing is we remained open. We didn't close at all. We remained open. We kept our employees and staff safe. We kept our families safe. And not only did we remain open, we continued with essential services that we provide. The prime example is we still allowed the Hever Kadisha continued access to the building to perform services like Tahara and Shmira. So that's very, as I'm sure you know, that's very important to our client families in this community, and we just couldn't stop that. We just couldn't stop that. It's very important, and we did everything we could to keep that going. And I guess just by giving the families the opportunity to say goodbye, I feel we accommodated them as best as we could.
Right. Wow. Wow. Okay. That sounds, it's very inspiring, the work that you guys do.
Thank you.
So I would say, from let's say 2 months ago, like what was going on till now, or like how would you see things, like how do you see things changing in your position in the weeks and months up ahead, like what it's been 2 months ago and where it is now, and where you see things going in the future?
Well, we're eagerly awaiting the reopening of our funeral home. Um, the safety of our staff and client families remains paramount. So there are going to be a few differences once we do reopen. Um, we're going to have daily disinfection and sanitation of our building in the morning, in the afternoon, and before we close for the day. We're going to make sure that this building is safe for our families and our staff. We're going to be in our chapel. You're going to see signs and decals requiring social distancing. There's going to be signs throughout the chapel. We're going to try our best to maintain the 6 feet social distancing guideline for now until this kind of calms down. Masks are going to be required for the staff and the client families and any friends and families coming into the building. And people seem to understand this, and if you don't, please know that it is for your protection. We're trying to minimize exposure, and the mask seems to be doing part of the job. So for now, masks will be required. So those are the big changes that you're going to be seeing once the funeral home reopens.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to have a service. You'll be able to have a service. You'll be able to say goodbye. You'll be able to use the convenience of our funeral home.
Wow. Very, very nice. And in terms of also like from what you see on the numbers of, unfortunately the numbers being much higher a few weeks ago till now, what would you say, how different is that, like at this point from 2 months ago?
We have seen over the past 2 weeks a certain downside of the volume. We are not as busy, which is a good thing, as we were in April. So just looking at daily reports and numbers, we have seen a decrease in the amount of COVID-related deaths. So we're satisfied with that. But it does seem like we are on a downside right now. We're hoping that there is no second wave. We're hoping that the guidelines that we're going to be enforced minimizes exposure, and we can go back to some sense of normalcy.
Wow. Okay, sounds good. And last question would be, obviously, it seems that you guys are really going above and beyond for the, to accommodate with the Jewish community, with the, the Kohen room that you guys created, and, the Chevra Kadisha that you guys are, you're saying you're not gonna, let that slide, and that's an important thing for families. That's really beautiful. Do you have any like messages for the community, or for families that?
Sure. Boulevard-Riverside has serviced the community for the past 40 years, and we will continue to do so during these unprecedented times. We will be here for you at your time of need. We appreciate the trust you place in us, and our goal is to service all families and provide some sort of celebration of life. We want to give you the chance to say goodbye. And lastly, for those that have seen any of the papers recently, we were going to have a opening ceremony for our Kohen house back in March, which unfortunately, due to the pandemic, had to be canceled. We are still planning to have that, and once it is planned and scheduled, we will be reaching out to the public to let you all know. And we encourage that you come, you take a tour of our building, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today.
You're welcome, Ariel. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye now.